who sat on top of a roof with her dog Sandy, waiting for rescuers as waters rose around her.
Use ladders, ropes, and even a slide in their attempt to rescue the feline in distress.
Seeing an animal in pain is truly heartbreaking. It hurts to watch them suffer. But what you do in that moment shows who you are. Choosing to help means you have a kind and caring heart. In today's video, we will see people risking everything to save helpless animals. A girl waits on a rooftop for hours during a flood, refusing to leave her best friend behind. A fisherman rescues tiny kittens thrown into a river by someone heartless. These stories show the incredible love and bravery of those who step up to protect animals in need. Ever wondered about those rough white patches attached to whales? Those are barnacles, living crustaceans that latch onto whales for a stable home, a free ride, and access to food. A few barnacles are harmless and even natural for whales, but too many can cause skin irritation and increase drag, making swimming less efficient. When barnacle buildup becomes excessive, whales have a few ways to get rid of them. They might breach, leaping out of the water and crashing back down to knock some off. They also rub against rocks, sand, or even other whales to scrape away stubborn barnacles. In some cases, as whales migrate through different water temperatures, barnacles may naturally detach. Like one here, scraping off barnacles on a boat nearly drowned it. Luckily, they survived, and the barnacles were left scattered across the deck. There are other instances where whales reach out to fishermen for help in removing barnacles. We know that whales are the gentle giants of the ocean and sometimes make tragic mistakes by beaching themselves, leaving them helpless on the shore. That was nearly the fate of this stranded whale, until a group of locals sprang into action. 30 determined individuals worked relentlessly for 28 hours, refusing to give up. They tried everything, even bringing in a crane, but it wasn't enough. In a final effort, they used a tugboat to pull the massive creature back into the water. And it worked. The whale, finally free, swam away, while its rescuers stood on the shore, waving goodbye and wishing it luck. This poor turtle, covered in heavy barnacles, swam weakly toward a boat, as if asking for help. Barnacles are tiny marine creatures that cling to other animals. While a few are harmless, too many can make life difficult, weighing the turtle down and affecting its health. This turtle carried far too many and was struggling. Seeing its distress, a kind fisherman on the boat gently stepped in, carefully removing the barnacles one by one. Once freed from the extra weight, the turtle regained its strength and swam gracefully back into the open sea, lighter and free once more. In this clip, you can see how harmful barnacles can be. A man found a small turtle struggling under the weight of these stubborn creatures and quickly stepped in to help. Before removing the barnacles, he gently took off a crab that had also latched onto the turtle's shell. With patience and care, he freed the turtle from its burdens. Once the last barnacle was gone, the little turtle, now lighter and stronger, was released back into the sea, swimming away with renewed energy. Fishing nets can be deadly, trapping and injuring countless animals. This turtle was caught in one, struggling to stay afloat, when a group of boaters spotted it from a distance. As they got closer, they saw the turtle was in bad shape, tangled in the net with a plastic bottle and covered in barnacles. The net had tightened around its body, making it hard to move or breathe. The boaters worked tirelessly, carefully cutting away the net piece by piece. After a long and patient effort, they finally freed the turtle. With a final glance, it swam off into the deep ocean, safe and free once again. Fawns are fragile little creatures, and this one found itself in a difficult situation when it tried to squeeze through a gap in a door and got stuck. Struggling and afraid, the fawn seemed to be in pain, unable to free itself. But then, a kind-hearted man stepped in to help. With gentle hands and great care, he slowly freed the fawn from the tight space. The moment it was released, the fawn didn't hesitate. It quickly sprinted back to its mother, safe and unharmed. A group of morning walkers came across a heartbreaking sight. A buck trapped in a muddy water well, exhausted and unable to escape. One man stepped forward, trying to pull it out, but the buck was too heavy. Seeing his struggle, a friend joined in, and together they fought against the thick mud, refusing to give up. After a long, determined effort, they finally freed the buck. Weak and unable to stand at first, it hesitated. With one last push, they helped it to its feet. The buck paused, glancing back at its rescuers, as if to say thank you, before running off into the wild. Cats are naturally curious, but sometimes that curiosity leads to trouble. This poor cat found itself trapped in a metal bar window for days, unable to escape. In its struggle to break free, it had injured itself, but the bars were too tight to squeeze through. Weak and desperate, the cat needed help. When kind people finally found it, they knew the only way to save it was to cut through the metal. To keep the cat safe, they gently covered it before using the cutter. After carefully freeing the cat, they treated its wounds and gave it some food. With their kindness, the cat now has a chance to heal and recover. 11 horses found themselves in grave danger after falling through the ice on a frozen lake in Russia. Struggling in the freezing water, they were on the brink of exhaustion when nearby locals sprang into action. Determined to save them, they used every possible method. Some horses were pulled out with sheer manpower, while others were lifted with a crane. Against all odds, every single horse was rescued from the deadly cold. Once on solid ground, the community made sure they received proper care, checking their health before releasing them back into the wild. Thanks to their quick and selfless efforts, these horses were given a second chance at life. Deer and fences are a dangerous combination, as this poor deer learned the hard way. Trapped in a wire fence, it had likely struggled all night, growing weak and desperate. When a kind man discovered it, he knew he had to help. With patience and care, he gently worked to free the deer from the tangled wires. But what happened next was truly special. Rather than running away, the deer lingered, allowing the man to pet it in a rare moment of trust and gratitude. This touching scene is a reminder of the quiet bond that can form between humans and animals in times of need. This mama dog had been abandoned, left to fend for herself in the cold. Desperate to keep her babies safe, she hid them in a drain pipe. When she spotted a man passing by, she approached him, her eyes full of hope, as if begging for help. He gently petted her, then noticed tiny movements near the pipe. It was her hungry puppies. Without hesitation, he placed the mother dog in his van and returned to rescue her babies. With the help of a friend, he carefully pulled them out. He took them all home, fed them, and later brought them to a shelter, where they could find a loving family and a second chance at life. This bird in the water is an osprey, a powerful hunter of the skies. But at this moment, it is helpless, soaked, unable to fly and drifting on the water's surface. Vulnerable and exhausted, it needs help. A group of boaters noticed the struggling bird and decided to step in. One woman carefully used a boating oar to assist, making sure not to scare it. She stood still, nervous but determined, as the osprey rested and dried its wings. After some time, strength returned to the bird. Then, in a breathtaking moment, it spread its wings and soared back into the sky, free once more. Pelicans are experts at swallowing fish whole, but this one made a dangerous mistake. It had gulped down a fish that got stuck, leaving the bird gasping and in distress. Struggling to breathe, the pelican needed help. A kind man noticed its trouble and carefully stepped in. As he tried to remove the fish, he discovered something worse: a fishing hook lodged inside. Acting quickly and gently, he freed both the fish and the hook, saving the pelican's life. With the danger gone, the bird flapped its wings and took off, soaring back into the wild, safe and free once more. Here we have a blue heron, its wing tangled in a fishing line. No matter how hard it tried to fly, it remained trapped, struggling in vain. From a distance, a group of fishermen spotted the bird in distress and knew they had to help. Moving carefully to avoid startling it, they approached and worked quickly to cut the fishing line. With one final snip, the heron was free at last. It stretched its wings, paused for a moment, and then took flight, soaring high once again, saved by the kindness of those who chose to help. This night, Heron was in a desperate situation, tangled in a fishing line and left hanging helplessly. Struggling to escape, it had injured itself and broken a few feathers. Weak and unable to free itself, the bird needed urgent help. Thankfully, kind rescuers stepped in, carefully untangling it from the fishing line. After tending to its minor wounds, they gently released the heron back into the wild. Though a bit shaken, it spread its wings and flew away, given a second chance thanks to their compassion. Animals do ask for help, just like this thirsty eagle. Struggling to find water, it boldly approached a group of people as if pleading for relief. Recognizing its desperation, they quickly offered water, holding it out with care. The eagle drank eagerly, regaining its strength with each sip. Thanks to their kindness, the majestic bird was able to quench its thirst and soon took flight once more, a powerful reminder of the quiet ways humans and animals can connect. A sea turtle lay stranded upside down under the blazing sun for who knows how long, helpless and exhausted. When a young man spotted it, he wasted no time rushing to help. But the turtle was too heavy for him alone, so he called a friend. Working together, they carefully flipped the turtle over and guided it toward the water. With one final push, it reached the waves and swam back into the ocean, free once more. Thanks to their kindness and teamwork, the turtle was saved just in time. A family was startled by strange noises coming from their backyard. Following the sounds, they discovered a baby deer trapped inside a groundhog hole. How it got there was a mystery, but one thing was clear: it needed help. Rescuing it without causing harm wouldn't be easy. Carefully, they used a cutter to remove the roots surrounding the hole, making space to free the deer. At first, the little fawn couldn't stand, its legs shaky from exhaustion. But after a few minutes, it regained its strength. Thankfully, it was unharmed and soon ready to return to the wild. Another baby deer found itself trapped in a sinkhole, frightened and desperately trying to escape. Just when it seemed hopeless, a group of kind men spotted the struggling fawn and rushed to help. Though the scared deer resisted at first, they remained patient, carefully lifting it out of the hole. The moment its hooves touched solid ground, the little deer wasted no time. It sprinted straight into the forest, free and safe once more, thanks to their compassion. This video captures a heartbreaking scene. Two dogs abandoned in a locked cage as floodwaters rose around them in North Carolina. Trapped and desperate, they stood on their hind legs, struggling to keep their heads above water. Their owners had fled to escape Hurricane Florence, leaving them behind with no way out. But hope arrived in the form of dedicated volunteers who waded through the knee-deep water to reach them. The terrified dogs whimpered and howled, but the rescuers worked quickly, unlocking the cage and pulling them to safety. Thanks to their bravery and compassion, these dogs were saved from a tragic fate. This video captures a heartbreaking scene. Two dogs abandoned in a locked cage as floodwaters rose around them in North Carolina. Trapped and desperate, they stood on their hind legs, struggling to keep their heads above water. Their owners had fled to escape Hurricane Florence, leaving them behind with no way out. But hope arrived in the form of dedicated volunteers who waded through the knee-deep water to reach them. The terrified dogs whimpered and howled, but the rescuers worked quickly, unlocking the cage and pulling them to safety. Thanks to their bravery and compassion, these dogs were saved from a tragedy. Strong waves and hurricanes can sometimes push dolphins onto shore, leaving them stranded and helpless. This baby dolphin was stuck on the beach when a man spotted it just in time. He gently lifted the exhausted dolphin and carried it back to the water. The dolphin regained its strength and swam away. Thanks to his quick action and kindness, the little dolphin got a second chance at life. Cats getting stuck in trees is a classic tale, but this kitten's ordeal was extreme. For 2 whole weeks, it remained stranded atop a towering 25-meter palm tree, meowing helplessly. The locals, determined to save the little soul, became heroes in their own right. They tried everything: ladders, slides, even creative contraptions, but nothing seemed to work. Finally, after days of persistence, they managed to lure the starving kitten into a cage using food and water. Miraculously, it had survived an entire week without either, perhaps lending truth to the legendary 9 lives myth. Thanks to their dedication, the kitten was finally safe. Bald eagles are built for the cold, but this one had been stuck in the same spot for so long that its tail became frozen in ice. Unable to move, the majestic bird was in danger. A concerned observer spotted it and quickly called for help. Rescuers arrived and carefully captured the eagle, bringing it to warmth to melt the ice. The situation was severe, requiring hot water to free its trapped feathers. For 3 days, they fed and cared for the eagle, ensuring it was strong enough to fly. Finally, with hundreds watching, they released it back into the sky, a breathtaking moment of freedom. This was likely a case of fishing gone wrong. A majestic eagle, now drenched and struggling in the water, was spotted by a couple on an adventure. Acting quickly, they pulled the exhausted bird onto their boat, giving it a safe place to rest. Eagles may be powerful hunters, but soaked feathers make them look anything but regal. The couple patiently waited for it to dry, even offering it a fish. Since the eagle showed no rush to leave, they decided to give it a ride, one it seemed to enjoy. Later, they gently placed it on the shore in the warm sunlight.
Oh, you're standing on your tail. Get off your tail.
Leaving it with more fish. The eagle was fine, just a little soggy and in need of rest. This eagle decided to go fishing in the mud. What could possibly go wrong? Well, everything. It ended up trapped in the thick, sinking sludge, unable to free itself. Luckily, rescuers arrived just in time, carefully pulling the exhausted bird out. They washed off the heavy mud, but even with clean feathers, the eagle still couldn't fly. Weak and disoriented, it needed more than just a rinse. It needed time to heal. Now in rehab, the bird will receive the care it needs before eventually soaring back into the wild where it belongs. Low flights near roads can be dangerous, as this bald eagle discovered. It became trapped in a pickup truck's grill, unable to escape. The driver called for help, and rescuers freed the injured bird. Since it couldn't fly properly, it was taken for care, hoping for a full recovery. Deer are great jumpers, but sometimes they miscalculate. This one attempted to clear a 6-foot wooden fence and got stuck. A passing man saw it struggle and quickly stepped in to help. He carefully broke the wood, creating enough space for the deer to free itself and escape unharmed. Koalas are adorable Australian creatures, but they struggle in extreme heat. This thirsty one couldn't find water and approached a group of cyclists for help. Understanding its need, they kindly offered water, letting the koala drink straight from a bottle. Their simple act of kindness helped the little creature stay hydrated. Foxes in urban areas often grow bold, especially when food is scarce. This one found a kind man who offered it eggs, and soon it returned for more. The man then fed it chicken, and before long, the fox became a daily visitor, even stepping inside his home, trusting its new friend. During a powerful storm, a man noticed a bird and its chicks struggling against the harsh winds. Wanting to help, he braved the storm and gently brought them inside. His kindness gave them shelter, keeping them safe and warm until the danger passed, proving compassion knows no bounds. As this woman returned from a hike, she heard a desperate bleating in the distance. Curious, she followed the sound and discovered a sheep trapped in thick mud, struggling but unable to break free. Though the animal was too heavy to lift easily, she refused to give up. Gripping its horns, she pulled with all her strength. After a minute of effort, the sheep finally emerged from the mud, exhausted and shaky. Seeing it couldn't walk right away, she gently dragged it to a nearby stream, washing away the dirt. As the sheep regained its strength, it paused, gazing at her as if to say, "Thank you for your kindness," before trotting back to its flock. When this fisherman set out on the water that weekend, he never expected the catch of the day to be something so unusual. As he drifted along, he noticed a small figure swimming toward his boat. Then he heard a tiny meow. To his shock, it was a kitten, struggling to stay afloat. He quickly scooped it out of the water, only to spot another one paddling desperately toward him. They looked like twins, lost and helpless. With no homes nearby, it seemed someone had abandoned them by the river. Luckily, the fisherman arrived just in time. Later, a kind family took them in, giving the kittens the warm, loving home they deserved. This poor fox cub found itself in a life-threatening situation, tangled so tightly in a football net that it was nearly strangled. The more it struggled, the worse it became, leaving the cub exhausted and helpless. Fortunately, some kind-hearted individuals spotted the distressed animal and rushed to help. With patience and care, they carefully cut away the net, making sure not to cause any further harm. After a quick check to confirm the cub was uninjured, they gently set it free. The little fox hesitated for a moment, then dashed back into the wild, saved by the compassion of strangers. An eagle, the mighty ruler of the skies, found itself in trouble after a failed fishing attempt left it drenched and unable to fly. Stranded in the water, the bird struggled to stay afloat. A man noticed its distress and stepped in, carefully guiding the eagle toward the shore. Though exhausted, the proud bird wasn't too keen on human help. As soon as it reached land, it quickly distanced itself, flapping onto a nearby boat to dry its wings in solitude. With time, strength returned, and the eagle soared back into the sky, free once more. This baby raccoon had been trapped in the water for far too long, exhausted and struggling to stay afloat. A man noticed its distress and quickly grabbed a stick, hoping the raccoon would cling to it and climb up. But the little creature was too weak to respond. Thinking fast, the man fetched a stick with a net, carefully maneuvering it under the raccoon. After a tense few moments, he finally lifted the drenched, shivering animal to safety. Though shaken, the raccoon was now out of danger, saved by the man's quick thinking and compassion. Even animals with great strength and sharp horns can find themselves in helpless situations. That's exactly what happened to this poor kudu when it attempted to jump a human-made fence and got stuck. A kind man stumbled upon the struggling animal and knew he had to help. Unsure how long it had been trapped, he first offered it water to ease its exhaustion. Then, with determination, he began cutting the fence. It was a tough task, but he refused to give up. After much effort, he finally set the kudu free. Without hesitation, the majestic creature sprinted away, vanishing into the jungle, safe once more. This poor horse was trapped between two massive rocks, unable to move, its eyes filled with desperation. From a distance, some kind-hearted people noticed its struggle and rushed to help. The sight was heartbreaking. The horse was exhausted, its strength fading. Wasting no time, the rescuers began the difficult task of moving the heavy rocks. It was a slow, grueling effort, but they refused to give up. Finally, after what felt like forever, they managed to free the horse. In a touching moment, instead of running away, the horse stood nearby, gazing at its rescuers with deep gratitude, as if silently saying, "Thank you for saving my life." Humans can be careless, but some actions cross the line into cruelty. One such case was a dog left inside a locked car for hours, trapped in unbearable heat with no escape. With the windows shut, the temperature inside soared to dangerous levels, leaving the poor animal on the brink of death. Just in time, a police officer spotted the distressing scene and sprang into action, shattering the window to free the suffering dog. Its condition was heartbreaking, weak, overheated, and barely hanging on. The officer quickly gave it cold water and first aid before rushing it to an animal shelter. Thanks to this act of compassion, the dog was given a second chance at life. That wraps up today's incredible rescues. Which of these amazing heroes touched your heart the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring and heartwarming stories. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.